I just touched my first $10,000, and I realized that it was easier than what I expected, which may be a controversial statement to make because a lot of people, including myself, think that $10,000 is a lot of money. And at first, when you start from zero, or even if you're starting from negative, it feels and seems a lot harder than what it actually is. But when you break it up and just think about, okay, if I can make $100 100 times and hold on to it, I'll have $10,000. You'll frame it a lot differently. And that's not really how I framed it at first, but like towards the midsection of my journey, I realized that that's all it really takes. And you're so focused on thinking about $2,000 at a chunk or $500 at a chunk. Just think about it as simple as $100, right? And it also dawned upon me that making $10,000 wasn't even the hard part. It was making the habits stick. The habit of going to work, the habit of waking up when I'm tired, the habit of forcing myself to go to sleep when I have more energy than I necessarily wanted, the habit of, packing my lunch when I could have easily door dashed something, the habit of, you know, delaying instant gratification, delayed gratification. It was simply that habit of understanding that if I do the correct things long enough, I will have the outcome. The money will just be a byproduct. The money will just be a byproduct, and that's exactly what it was. And when I finally reached about $8,000, I felt like a lot of things were going sideways. That's when I realized I may have to, um, like this month, I may have to put a lot of money into getting one of my other vehicles fixed, and just handling, larger bills, um, and things like that. But I realized too, life isn't going to stop just because you get that first your first $1,000 or your first 5,000, eight, or even $10,000. Life is going to keep coming. But I think the fact that I was able to reach $10,000 um, at the age of 23 um, was simply because I delayed a lot of rewards for myself. It's been plenty of times where I got to a few $1,000s and I feel like, okay, now I can reward myself with a pair of shoes, or I can reward myself with some clothes, or I can go, get this new camera, or I can go out to eat, take the whole family out to eat, things like that. But I realize that is how I tend to self sabotage before the foundation has been laid. And there's nothing wrong with those things. Of course, you do have to reward yourself and give yourself a pat on the back and clap your hands for yourself because one, that is an accomplishment, and two, you're probably doing it in silence. You're not making an announcement to the world that you're about to start stacking your first $10,000, but you need to reinforce that great behavior. Um, so it wasn't even the fact that I didn't reward myself. I just knew how to minimize the amount of money I spent and how I rewarded myself because a lot of the rewards that I provided for myself really didn't even cost a lot. Didn't even It wasn't even worth the shoes. Like whole time, I thought I wanted the shoes, but I just wanted a cleaner feel. You know what I'm saying? I wanted to feel different, and there's a lot of different avenues you can take with feeling different instead of getting shoes, getting clothes, because those are materialistic things. But if you just take time and journal and understand where your steps have gotten you, that's actually a lot more rewarding than the shoes and the clothes itself. um Even going to the gym, having a nice haircut, smelling good, I reward myself with things that push me forward to want to make more money, if that makes sense. So that's real subjective. That's a real subjective reward, but that's just what worked for me. But one thing I did realize when I had Got to the bank, withdrew the money, and the money was actually in my hands. As I walked to the car, I was kind of anxious because I didn't know, who could have been watching me or something was gonna happen before I got back home. But I just had to take my mind off of that. But anyways, once I got home, actually held the money, looked at it. I'm like, damn, this is $10,000. Like the feeling that I thought I was gonna feel, I didn't feel it. And what I mean by that is, I thought once I had, hit $10,000 cash, that I was gonna feel like I made it, or I was gonna feel like, okay, now we're getting somewhere. But now when I hold the $10,000, when I look at it, it's like it's normal, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's just like my mind has already moved the goalpost. You know, I've taken the time to um, clap for myself, reward myself, and celebrate that milestone. But mentally, like I'm so much further than the $10,000 because the process that it took to get there made me appreciate the man I've become rather than the money that I got. Now, I'm not saying $10,000 being held in your hands doesn't feel good, because I've always wondered how that felt, but it didn't feel as great as I expected. And I'm glad because I'm glad holding $10,000 or just seeing that money in my account didn't feel as exhilarating as I thought. I'm happy for that because I think if I would have felt overwhelming joy, if I would have felt like, oh my gosh, bro, I'm here, I finally made it, I think that would be a subtle self-destructive emotion because now I'm chasing after the next dollar. Okay, boom, I hit 10,000. Now I'm ready for 15. Now I'm ready for 20, and I'm chasing money simply for the fact that I can hold it or I can see it in my account. But money is not something to be viewed, as simply a tool, and that's what I'm realizing. Like I had to detach myself from, the $10,000 and just fall in love with the process of making $1,000 10 times. No matter how, life came at me, no matter how bad or how heavy, bills got. Like even though I don't have any children, I don't have any crazy expenses, I'm still taking care of things on the back end, for not only myself but for my family as well. But like $10,000 didn't feel how I thought it was gonna feel, and I'm appreciative of that because I feel like the man I'm coming in the pursuit of getting the $10,000 is just the beginning, and I feel great. I feel great not because of this money, right? Because this money represents, the hard work and the diligence and the perseverance and the budgeting that I did. But this is like a percentage of it, right? You can't see all the sleepless nights. You can't see, all the sacrifices I made just to get here because this doesn't amount to anything. At the end of the day, it's paper, obviously. It's money. It's a tool. But the things that allow you to produce this is what matters the most. Like I said, the non scale victories, the empathy I had towards others when I didn't even have when this is all I had, right? The compassion, the diligence to just get up and make a way when it didn't seem like there was a way at all. And I attribute all of that to God because it's like, he gives us the ability to create wealth. And this is literally just $10,000. Like when I held it, I'm like, damn, like this is not a lot of money. Like in my bank account, yes, when you talk about $10,000, like it sounds like a lot, but when you hold it and you look at it physically, it's like, bro, this is nothing. So imagine the gratefulness for the $10,000, but imagine how much more work you have to do if you're trying to reach a six-figure business or 10K a month or 10K days, or you know what I'm saying? Like it's crazy. Like my mind is on a whole nother level now. But it started with me trying to hit my first 10K, and pretty soon, I'm sure I'll be at 15, 20K, and be able to use that money to invest. But it's like the money, I don't think is necessarily what we want. I don't think it's necessarily what we're looking for, because that $10,000, that's a cushion for me. That bought time, that bought leverage, that bought optionality, but it didn't buy me happiness. It didn't buy me, you know, I didn't go finance a car. I didn't get any new tattoos or anything like that. Like, it just bought me to some extent the freedom that I needed, and that's only $10,000. Imagine if I had that times two or times three. But we shouldn't be solely reliant on the money. Nah, think about it. Cause like, what would I do if I was down to my last $10? Would I still be this? Would I still be the same? And I think that's a question I gotta ask myself. Cause it's like, yeah, my initial goal was to hit $10,000 by my 24th birthday, and I actually did it um almost a month before my birthday. I did it about maybe 43 days before my actual birthday, but like I said, the goalpost is going to get moved, but who you become in the process, I think that's what I appreciate a lot more than the $10,000. So I really don't have much to say. This is just the beginning of a journey. I don't plan on walking around with $10,000 because that's not smart. But just using it as motivation, and realizing that if I can stack 10, I can stack a 20, 30, 40, 50, and get to 100. And really, 100 is just the start of something too. A lot of people have 100K months. So just enjoying the process, falling in love with the process. Make sure you got a system. Make sure you're budgeting, and things like that. Because not only do you have to budget, but understanding that money is psychological more than it is mathematical and spreadsheets and things of that nature. Because money is just, this cash right here is just a manifestation of, like I said, the hard work and diligence I put in. But it's paper. It is simply paper. You make the money. The money don't make you. But that's really all I gotta say. I'm proud of myself for one, but this is really just um an eye opener. A lot of us really don't want the money. We probably just want the freedom or what the money represents. But that's in your control. You can't use money to determine your character, because it's a lot of people that have tens of thousands of dollars, but no integrity, no character, no morals, no values, no structure. So I just don't want to be one of those. I want to be somebody where I can have freedom, I can have resources, I can have leverage without necessarily having to show the money. And I feel like that's exactly who I'm becoming. So I appreciate y'all for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Um, we'll be back for some more pretty soon. Your boy Cameron Mitchell is out.